Move forward.
You take the hits and you keep walking.
That's not supposed to be the case.
I'm not supposed to cuss, but that double standard.
No, terrible. So now we know a little bit about how y'all met. I want to get into some of the nitty gritty.
This is where the good stuff happens.
This is where we're gonna now take your relationship. This is the part of the section where we take your relationship and we contrast it to modern day.
He tries to break us up.
So basically, that's exactly it. The point is to really reduce the matrimony that's happened here. I'm not kidding. No, make you guys together even more than before.
I was about to say, I worked 2 days off.
Nah, don't worry. Listen, everything's gonna stay intact. All right. We haven't gotten the hot seat yet. It's not even hot. This is just breaking down.
Not even hot.
It's a modern day relationship. All right. So you guys are, or this just happened recently. Right? You're in the modern day. You want to now extrapolate this relationship to the audience out there and how relationship topics that they may be dealing with or things that they can envision may happen to them. We're gonna try and bring that out of y'all based on what you guys deal with. Now, the first set of questions doesn't necessarily have to do with your story, but I just want to understand how you guys kind of think about these things.
Right.
So, let's talk about traditional, and AKA non-modern viewpoints of gender roles within inside the relationship. Okay. First question I have for you, Anna. Sorry about that.
Same thing.
I'm gonna get it right. I'm gonna be one of those guys. I'm one of those other guys. I'm a good guy. All right. What are your thoughts around him being financially responsible within the relationship for certain things?
Oh my gosh, I love it.
Do you think that? Oh, you love it.
Yeah.
All right, so when you guys go on dates, for example, do you expect him to pay all the time, or do you guys go 50-50?
It depends. I feel like I always do want to treat him
Okay.
the same way he treats me.
Okay.
There always has to be equal partnership, whether it's financially or
Okay.
literally any sense of the word. Like the partnership, it has to be equal, no matter what. Financially, and I talked about this to my girlfriends the other day, and I just feel like it all comes down to communication, because I do love getting treated. I can't lie. Like, I've been spoiled my whole life, and I feel like I know what I deserve, and there are moments where I obviously know what he deserves, and I would love to treat you. But I also, like, when we're sitting down at dinner, it depends on I don't know. I do love getting treated. So.
Okay.
And I just think that, like, you being financially responsible, I respect it a lot. And now that I'm financially responsible, I'm like, okay, like, I can.
She likes that I pay the bill.
Yeah, right. That's kind of. I mean, like, I do want to. I want to hear the down low. Okay. I want you to try.
You know what's so funny though?
What's going on?
You know what's bad funny though? The first time I took you out. The first time I took her out. First 2 times.
Yes.
No.
Okay, so when we went to Baltimore.
Let's get serious.
When I had my layover, I treated because I knew I wanted to treat him.
True.
He got a job.
During the layover.
Yeah.
Asking out laying over.
Yes.
Whoa, that's kind of important. You treated that?
Treated the whole meal,
that's kind of important.
The drinks.
Hey, man.
That's kind of important.
Hey.
That's fundamental.
True.
I know what I like, and I would never want. I would always treat you how I wanted to be treated.
Tight.
You know,
Golden rule.
Exactly. Golden rule. So I would never expect him to pay for me.
Okay.
I can pay for myself. I am financial. Like, I am an individual. I make my own money. Like, I'm very responsible with my money, I'd like to think, but I do love shopping. But it's just like, it comes down to communication. Like, I do love being treated, but I would never expect that of him. I think that we've just had this conversation before where it's just nice to get treated. Like,
Yeah, totally.
Have him pay the bill. Like,
Well, I mean,
The first time that I took her out here when she had came to visit me in Brooklyn, we had, this was so embarrassing. because I took her to Westlight in Brooklyn. Booked a reservation. Told the people ahead of time that like we had been talking for a month. It was like our 1 month of bullshit. You know what I'm saying?
And then we get there and they're like, "Oh, your 1 month.
Happy 1 month anniversary." Yeah, I was like that.
Nice. It was nice.
Wow. So we ordered this
perfect view. It was summer.
Everything was calm, and then time to pay the bill. I'm like, "Bet I got it." I reached into my pocket. My wallet is gone.
Exactly.
Because we had Ubered, and my wallet was in the Uber for real, bro. I was like, yo, oh no. My wallet was in the Uber, and I was like, oh
the
my
bag,
God.
bro, literally fumbled.
Bro.
But you guys, the thing is, it wasn't a big problem.
Some
people it is. Don't get me wrong. Don't ever get with someone who's broke.
Right.
Don't do it.
Don't.
I'm not broke. For the record.
He's not.
I'm not broke. But do I want
He
to
left the wallet.
That's a good point, though.
He left the wallet. Like, is it a red flag? I know him as a person. And I genuinely was like, this is our 1 month. Like, I might
I called the Uber driver so fast. I called the Uber driver so I had a whole thing planned. Oh my gosh, it was.
But you ended up paying the bill that night.
Yeah, but you know what? I'm grateful to be in the.
Put your hand down, bruh. Put your hand.
You know what? You know what?
Yeah. And
I just want to say I feel very grateful and lucky enough to be in the position where I could.
That is. And you see, in modern day, would you do that? Ask yourself that question. Can you do that?
Okay, but here's the thing, right? Who paid for Nobu?
No. Hey, no, that's actually wild.
That was the way, damn.
Who gave you a gift on your birthday?
Every other time, I made sure that like my wallet was in my.
But that's the thing. It's not even about that.
It's not.
Like humans make mistakes. That's not even the issue.
I was so
There's actually no issue in this. There's only positive. How I view it as a third party. The fact that she sat there and was like, "Don't even worry,"
and we had a great night after.
So
of course we did.
Invaluable. That's priceless.
The whole time in my mind,
Especially in today's world.
I was terrified that she was like, "Yo, she won't think bro."
I mean, like 90% of people today
I know who you
would think you are. 90%, and not even that. They'll think you're careless, clumsy on your first, 1 month. But like
I was mad excited.
You were just being a human being, you know what I'm saying? And you were just doing, and you made a mistake, but she came in there and filled the gap. Like that to me is like the number one quality in a person you want to have as a partner. You know, when I fall short, can they pick me up? Boom. Let's go.
Like I said, it's a partnership. Sometimes I offer to split, and sometimes I like pull my card out, and he's like, no, and I'm like, okay. But like I would never expect you to. That's like, or I try not to, but it is always nice. And I feel like just a lot of respect and communication has to go into it. That's all.
Right.
So no matter what you do, depending on who you're with, it really depends on the person, and it depends on how you talk about it, and the respect, like the mutual respect. That's like the most important part of it.
On that point, let's talk about respect and communication. One of the things that Akosa, let me know about is you guys have a very healthy relationship in terms of communication, right? Akosa, I'm gonna direct this part of the conversation a little bit more to you let's take this part of the conversation a little bit more to you because let's start a little bit open actually about the communication styles. My personal hypothesis is that the number one reason why most relationships actually don't work out is because of this communication aspect, right? Because human beings are social species, and that's why we are even in relationships in the first place.
Right.
You can't understand what I'm thinking if I don't tell you what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
Which means that you can't adjust your behavior because you don't know what I want, which comes from our thoughts. And the fact that you guys have your communication styles down to the T, to the point where you feel you can communicate exactly what you want, when you want it, I feel like it's the number one reason why a relationship like yours would flourish in the first place. Especially something that started off as I guess strong. That's weird. Like it happened like out of nowhere, kind of like right. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But the fact that you guys are able to communicate through everything is exactly what I would attribute as to one of the foundational bricks that hold your relationship together. Now, what would you guys say is the key to that for other people to hear? Right, like talk about this communication style that you guys have that allows your relationship to flourish a little bit.
You want to start or can I go?
I can start, and I think it just has a lot to do with our past, which obviously our past is not our present, but in other relationships, you just kind of learn. I guess like I think we're both naturally good at communication in the first place, and when someone doesn't hear you, or act, or they say they hear you and they don't act the same way, it really hurts. And so like it's very frustrating because you're like, I am trying to communicate what I want and it's just not working, and you think it's you, but sometimes it's just not. Right. I don't want to say like sometimes it is you, so no.
Sometimes you want to go.
No, I got you.
You know what? I think that in both of the relationships, or I don't want to speak for both of us, but I feel like just in what we've talked about, we have both been very good at trying to communicate how we feel and what we want. Yeah. And then it just hasn't always registered with the other person. Like sometimes it just goes in and out, like in one ear, out the other. And I feel like I'm trying to get better at this, and Akosa's been very, very good about it since the very beginning, because we did both come out of relationships, and there's a huge healing process involved with that. Like, it's never like, oh, you can just switch it off. Like, I wish it was like that, but I feel like even just hearing him be like, oh, what can I give you more out of this relationship? Like, what can I give you that we're missing? Like, he would bring up these conversations, and I'm like, oh, wow, I don't even know what we're missing in our relationship. Like, toxicity? And that's what I said. I was like, I'm missing that, but it's not something I need. It's just something I've had in the past. And so I'm like, this is what's missing. But he's always been very bold in saying how he's feeling. And what I appreciate the most about our relationship is that he has been very patient with me trying to learn from him. And I feel like we're just learning and growing with each other. So. Wow. Because we're both healing, so I feel like that's just a huge process. So he was just very patient with me, and he was like, what are we missing from this relationship? And I'm just like, I'm just healing on my own, which is okay. And like sometimes there's just moments of that. I feel like we both have experienced that, and just wanting to be there for one another, and the fact that we're so independent, but we can be dependent if we wanted to in certain moments. Like, the independence is like very integral to the foundation of our relationship. Like, we never needed one another. We just found one another, and then kind of complemented one another. And I'm like, wait, this is very additive. So it adds value into my life. Right. Why would I risk anything like that? So wow. I don't know if that's
that's pretty spot on for me. I think that I think like the biggest part for me was communication was typically the downfall of my past relationship.
Right.
And like not even necessarily like sometimes, a lot of times it would be like communicating what I want out of a relationship. Sometimes it would just be communicating how I feel about something that's happening in my own personal life.
Right.
And sometimes I would use, like in the past, I would use what was happening in my personal life as an excuse to push the other person away, because I didn't think they could understand it. I didn't think they would like view me the same as a man. Where like sometimes I'm trying to be open. Sometimes they can, but like
you have to trust your intuition,
right? And but I also feel like it's maybe not as much in today's society, but like overall, it's like you as a man, you're not typically always allowed to feel things, especially with that person who you are involved with, because then the idea is that they're not going to look at you the same, you know. But I think that is where I've learned that is where like the reason why a lot of my relationships just didn't work out. And also why like sometimes that person may not have been for me, because there have been times I've opened up and then everything changes.
Yeah.
And there have been times where I didn't open up and I pushed them away.
Yeah.
So when some stuff like that happened a few months ago, where like there was some personal things going on in my life, like I initially started thinking back to that time when I was like, okay, what have I done in past relationships when something happens like this? I push the person away, or they don't respond in kind, or they make it about them. Where it's like you tell them how you feel, and then they'd be like, "Oh, here's how I feel about how you feel." And I'm like, "What are you talking about?" You know. But when that had happened,
here's how I feel about how you feel.
Right? You know how dumb that sounds.
Like, what are you talking about?
Like, but when I was thinking about that with Anna in mind, I was like, all I wanted to do was tell her, because I knew that for whatever reason I knew that it wasn't going to be like that. Because I knew how understanding and caring she was, and I knew that like she would still view me the same. And I tell her everything. Like as soon as I found out about what had been going on, what was playing in my mind, like she was in Phoenix. I wasn't going to tell her over the phone. No. But like, thank God she was coming in like 2-3 days, because I told her instantly. And she was like, okay, how are you feeling? Right? How are you processing this? And I was like, I've not been asked that before. But I had an answer ready, because like I'd been waiting to be asked. And she knew all the right things to say and the right ways to be there for me. And it helped me like go through it. Even if she didn't necessarily know how much it helped me. Like it was very like, it was important. Like it's something that it was important for me. It should be important for everybody. Like when you are with somebody, you have your own things that you go through in your life, independent of that person. But how that person helps you go through things is an integral part of why you want to or don't want to be with that person.
No.
Because at some point, you are going to look to them for support, for help, for guidance, or whatever, or just to be a set of ears so that you can vent to. And if you don't think that they're going to be there for you, or you're scared how they're going to react, that's tough for real. Maybe that's not the person for you.
Something.
Right. But like, she responded perfectly.
A+.
Like she responded perfectly, and like I really couldn't have asked for like a better partner in that position.
Yeah.
Wow.
Wow. That's okay. Sorry. No, like if I were you, I'd be blushing. Like, that was adorable.
Don't bring up the tomato sauce.
Hey, you need to. I haven't even said it.
I haven't even said it.
No, now you have to say it, bro. Now you gotta say it.
No, he doesn't.
Now he has to say it.
Let it. Let's give it a few more minutes.
All right, guys. So, what I just heard, because we have so many other things to talk about. This is great.
So many other things, you guys. You gotta move on.
But like, I just want us to break down that, condense it, and let's give it a takeaway. That is amazing, right? One, having someone that can interpret your feelings in a positive light, even though those feelings are negative, is an invaluable skill set / trait for a man or woman to have, right? In a relationship, each person is going to be different. They're going to come from different backgrounds, different families, which means that they have different ways of thought.
It's the beauty of it.
It's the beauty of it, but that beauty doesn't get shared unless you guys communicate. And you guys don't communicate unless someone else is ready to receive it. So, I don't even know what I'm eating right now. I don't know what I'm eating right now. Like, I can eat. Like,
he's hungry.
Like,
what's he mean? He's hungry.
My stomach is actually rumbling. It's actually rumbling, bro.
Go get some.
Shout out to Aaron Eager. Anyway, so the point of what I'm trying to say is, high level, if your partner is not receiving what you're saying, you need to communicate that to them. Tell them to be someone who is good at receiving how you feel so that it encourages you to talk more. If that person's not ready to do that, then you're not supposed to be with that person. Because the relationship can never work. It can never work. It's a waste of your time, right? If someone's not ready to break down that barrier of, I'm going to remove my emotions so that I can listen to you and accept yours, that person's not meant for you. You got to keep moving, right? Life is too short. You gotta keep moving.
You can never force someone to be someone that
They're
you
not.
want to be. Like, if they don't want to change, like, it's not your job to teach someone how you should be treated.
Absolutely. And then also, especially as a man, to have you being so open to communicating, I think is also another plus in this relationship. Mm-hmm. Someone who can receive it and not judging you for it as a man. And then a man who's ready to open up, because most men don't. Most men don't. And I was definitely one of those guys. Like, 100%. I didn't want to say how I felt because it made me feel like less of a man. Right? Like, I'm supposed to take it, be the guy in a relationship. I'm like gonna like hold my emotions together, move forward.
You take the hits and you keep walking.
That's not supposed to be the case.
I'm not supposed to cuss, but that double standard.
No, it's terrible.
It's horrible.
It's literally toxic for your own being.
Yeah, exactly. We're humans at the end of the day. Like,
yeah, maybe one gender feels more than others, but that's not exactly the point. And I don't even think that's true. Like, everybody has emotions, right? And we all need to learn how to deal with them.
We're all humans.
Right, exactly. All right, so moving on to the next topic. Another thing I want to highlight on is that you guys are obviously an interracial couple.
Yeah.
Right? How do you feel, you being as a Nigerian man?
Ibo Kwenu. Hey! Sorry, I had to eat that.
All right. You know? We had to. I'm going to have the audience in the back. Hey, I got you. I'm going to edit that one. Got it. Do you feel like it's been, because I'm Nigerian, so I know what it's like for it to be a Nigerian family. Do you feel like you've had any issues dating outside of your culture?
No.
Not at all.
I think other people have issues with it. I don't.
Dude, what do your parents think?
My parents before, because she is not my first non-Nigerian girlfriend.
Okay. So they are
in the beginning. They were like, "What the hell are you doing?" After they saw that it kept happening, they're like, "All right, I guess we have to just deal with it."
Yeah.
But I mean, like, I definitely think that my parents were far more accepting of it than like other traditional Nigerian parents.
Absolutely.
Because even like when I had gone home for Thanksgiving a week ago, we had like talked about this, and she was like, "As long as you are happy," because at the end of the day, like they want me to get married and have kids and be happy with whoever I'm with, right?
Yeah.
So as long as that person makes you happy and you are happy every time you lay your head at night, even if you argue, you yell at each other, whatever, you lay your head at night, you're content and happy with that person. They don't care what she looks like, where she's from.
That's amazing.
Whatever. You know, like that's really all it is. Like,
but do you feel like, so forget that. Mm-hmm. What about your own viewpoint of your culture? Do you feel like that has clashed being with Anna at all?
I mean, I think that there are. One thing that I should preface is that I wasn't as in tune.
Sorry, that has nothing to do with work. I just took the wrong sip.
Okay.
I'm good. We have to edit that out.
No, that's perfect. I'm actually keeping that. No, that's so good.
You done?
Yeah.
All right. Go ahead. So, do you feel like anything? If there's nothing that's
there was, I think, I don't want to say a disconnect, but for the early portion of like my growing up, I wasn't as connected to my Nigerian roots as maybe a lot of other kids were.
Yeah.
It honestly wasn't until Cornell that like I really like embraced that side of me. But I also don't think that it has to clash. I think there are a lot of people who like won't date outside of if you're Igbo. I'm Igbo, like they won't go outside of our villages.
Yeah.
And I respect it. That's fine. But for me, if I don't think that love has a race. If I am in love with you, if I want to be with you, I don't think that should be dependent on what your skin color is.
Yeah.
Because I don't get to choose who I fall in love with or who I want to be with for the rest of, or however long. You know what I mean?
Right.
For the rest of my life, whatever. So why would I put some arbitrary benchmark or arbitrary roadblock in it just because that's what other people want to do? And that's fine. If that's what you want to do, I respect it, fine. But me personally, I'm not going to limit myself to one particular race, races were identified by white people. The whole concept of race is something that I've had to like deal with, like studying learn about how that really has just been used as a concept to define people. You just got less melanin or more melanin. End of story. You know? And now, obviously, in recent time, the more or less you have has been impactful on your upbringing, but that does not necessarily mean that you cannot find your person who might be lighter or might be darker than you.
Right.
I think that you find somebody who's true, who's genuine, who is somebody who you want to be with. They can look like whatever they look like.
What he's trying to say is love is love.
And you know what? But a lot of people on the internet, I'm saying this now, a lot of people on the internet would disagree. And the reason why they think that, it's not, I mean, I think the reason why, because they don't really understand what actually takes to have a good relationship. It's not race. Now, okay, preface this. Yes, there is a distinction between, okay, when you have a different amount of melanin than someone else, it's like, okay, you have certain life issues, certain life problems, or certain life differentials that make it difficult for either side to understand really at its core, and makes the right at its core, and helps and makes it a little difficult, or when you're talking about sensitive situations. However, if you're with someone who is agnostic to that, like who understands culture, who understands, you know, or at least is willing to be educated about it, right? Then why is, for me, I don't see the any reason really, if you want to be with that person, why that wouldn't work out fundamentally. I mean, it's not about the background, it's really about what you do with it.
Right.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Like, what are you doing today about it? Not just about what you've been through. It doesn't automatically write what you're going to do for the rest of your life. Right? So,
I know.
And what about you?
That's the question.
Yeah. Let's move on to you. What do you think about this?
Something about it. I was raised in the most welcoming family, like in the most loving family. So I feel like I'm just very grateful. I wouldn't call it like privilege, but just like going into anyone who I would ever want to be with. Like I know that I could bring them to my family, and my family would be accepting of them.
That's awesome.
So a lot of people can't say that, and it is amazing. Like I would never take that for granted.
Wow. Even extended family members, everybody. That's so fire, bro.
Everybody would just be like, "Oh, you love them? Then they're invited to Christmas." Like,
boom.
You love them, they're invited.
Literally that easy. So I just want to recognize that I'm very grateful and lucky for that, because I know a lot of people can't say the same. And if you can't say the same, just know like you're not alone. There's always people out there for you who will accept you for who you are. You never have to hide who you are or who you love. But having the introspection to understand that everyone's different from you and everyone has a different upbringing and that they have different families and beliefs and
whether
cultures.
they look like you or not, too.
It doesn't even like I don't know if I want to bring this in, but these are all just host bodies.
Host
We're all
bodies.
just souls. We're all just souls, you know? I don't know.
Not everybody's ready for it.
Right, exactly.
That's
Not
not
everyone's ready
everybody's
for this,
ready for
but I feel like our souls, you know.
Yeah, go for it.
Talk to yourself. Talk to yourself. We want the opinion.
This is
true. Everyone is here and everyone is equal in my eyes. And I feel like my family, they didn't raise me into thinking that everyone, like the human like body is a host. But I just feel like having these like different upbringings and everyone just being different from one another is what makes everyone so beautiful.
Right.
And I feel like just respecting that in the first place, like there's definitely a term for it. Intercultural?
Interracial?
Think of something different.
I think a part of what you're trying to say is the fact that like outside of these bones and this skin, we are all spirits. We all have like our own.
Yeah, that's it. Like I mean,
I think that like while we may all look different, at our core we are all the same.
Right.
But for whatever reason, as we've developed societies and civilization, we've chosen to discriminate based on what we look like.
Not we, but
We don't.
Yeah, exactly. See, that's what I was getting at. Just like I think that as long as you treat everyone you know, everyone who you love with the same like equal respect, then you're gonna live a very long, happy life. Because I feel like just the respect is just that's the necessity. That's like the only thing that would, like, if you're making a cake, respect is you're gonna have to you need that shit.
Like the fundamental of the flower.
It's the flower. Respect is the flower.
Yeah.
It allows you to find. It allows you, like, you respect everyone. You treat everybody the same, regardless of what they look like. It can open your world up to experience that you never thought. You get to meet people from different backgrounds, different past, different walks of life, who you probably wouldn't have if you had your blinders on.
And no one wants this, like, the perspective that you have when you're born. Like, you want to be exposed to these things. You want to travel. You want to meet new people. Like, you don't want to meet everyone exactly the same as you. That would be stupid. Like, I would never want to be on an earth with 1 million or 7 billion Annas. Like, that's my worst nightmare. I love meeting people and, like, just being introduced to maybe it's things that you don't agree with, but just different perspectives. It really enriches your life. And so you should always just welcome that and also, like, look for it.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. That's beautiful. All right. Okay, you're that good looking of a person, and you can be out there, and like, you're not communicating with me.
We all struggle with it.
You're wearing, I don't know, God knows what outfit. You know what
I mean, chat.
BBC.
What you say?
The BBC.
Oh,